Been back gigging this week, guys. I've been back gigging. And listen, when you're a stand-up comedian and you're not gigging, it can feel like the world is passing you by. And that's literally how I've been feeling these past few weeks now. Do you remember when you was a kid in school and you'd have like a week or 2 weeks off school sick and you'd go back and it would seem like there'd be two people knocking about each other who weren't friends before. There'd be another group of people over here and they've all got an in-joke that you don't know. And you feel like, wow, everyone's like left me behind in this week. They've moved on and I've got now playing catch up because I've been off. That's what it feels like being a stand-up comedian when you're not performing, especially because you don't have to go in to feel like you're being left behind. You've got social media, you can see all the gigs that other people are doing. And when you're not gigging, you feel lazy, to be completely honest with you. And like me personally, I can't speak for anyone else, but I start to blame myself going, come on Adam, you need to sort this out here. You need to start getting back out there. You need to start gigging again. Now, like I say, I'm not a jealous person. When I see other people doing stuff, I'm not going, I should be doing their gig. But I am kicking myself going, I should be doing something here. I need to be getting myself out here and get myself onto the stage and performing. And after about 2 weeks off, my last gig was back end of last year. I think it was the 12th, was Wednesday last week. I was back gigging. I did a plate full of laughs in Sheffield at the Sheffield Plate. And oh my goodness, it was so good to be back performing stand-up comedy. I can't tell you how good it was feeling. The show itself, let's talk about it, shall we? Dan did something to start with. It was a Daniel Innes gig. I previewed it in the last podcast. I'll review it now, shall I? And Dan went and he did something that I've never seen any other MC do before. And he had this one table of women absolutely howling laughing before the show even started. And I was like, wow, this is like what you see from an MC when they get on the stage, not before they're on the stage. All he was doing was gone up to them and was telling them, listen, we're about to start the show in a few minutes. If you need to, go to the toilet, go get a drink, go smoke, whatever you need to do, because we're going to start in a few minutes. Get everything done now. Anyway, whatever they were saying to him, and he was bouncing off back to them, they were howling laughing. He had them all in the palm of his hands, and I thought, you know what, this table here, they're going to be amazing tonight. They're going to be well into it, and they were great. Show started, rest of the crowd, a little bit more mild. Now, it was the first gig of the year. Obviously, people are a little bit more skint after Christmas. It's their first time out. The crowds aren't as packed as they are later on in the year. Now, it wasn't an empty gig by any means, but it wasn't completely full. Couple empty tables here and there, but again, it's what you expect from January. But good amount of people in there, more than enough to play to and feel like, okay, I've got a crowd here, we can go. So the rest of the crowd, again, they were a little bit cold. They were literally cold because it's freezing outside at the moment. Everyone's in their jackets and all that. Crowd themselves a little bit cold, right? First stats goes on, and it was a tougher go around because the crowd, they're not fully into it yet. Even though Dan did a good job at the top, they're not all going with everything yet. They're slow into the night. They're building into the night, this audience, and that's kind of what happened through the night. I remember the first stats, he had this great joke about a webcam. I won't do it here. That's for him to tell, and for you to see him live and to see it in front of you. But I remember really enjoying that and it not getting enough from the audience. And I was like, oh, that's a great joke though. They're a tough crowd at the moment. We had a break, we came back. Next act went on again, crowd still a little bit cold. And then the next act went on, who was Amy Albright, who we travelled down there together, right? And Amy did something that I hate when I'm in an audience for shows, right? And I don't just mean stand-up shows, I mean any shows. When I'm an audience member, I hate this. And what she did is she walked off stage and she's starting to walk the floor, kind of going table to table, doing it that way. Now, the reason why I hate it is like, I mean, you see it when like, crooners do it, like, I got you under my skin, and like they're going table to table and like they hold hands with a woman and they'll kiss her hand in front of the husband and it's all a weird vibe, yeah. I hate that kind of stuff. Me and my mates a few years ago in Leicester, we went to a curry house. And there was a guy there doing table magic. He was going table to table, doing his magic tricks. And one of my mates especially was being very disrespectful to him. He was trying to guess all the tricks. A couple of them, to be fair, were trying to guess all the tricks. And in my head, I'm like, this is pro wrestling. Just play along and just pretend it's all real. Like, that's what I'm doing. So they were giving him a tough time. It was awkward, it was cringy, like, and he tried his best. But I guess another difference is he's an old man and he's doing magic, whereas she's a young girl. It doesn't come across like the same way when like a bloke starts to enter your space. You do start to get a little bit like, what's this guy want here? Because it does happen, doesn't it? Like, if I was to approach a table, I think people probably feel the same way about me. But obviously it comes across a lot different, and she comes across a lot more friendly to audience members. So she's walking around, she's getting involved, and she really got them on side. And again, I'll give you a bit of a peek behind the curtain here. On the way there, she was discussing with me how she thought that she'd had a few weeks off, and that she was a little bit wary of, taking those steps back out to, doing stand-up. Again, it's not my story to tell. I don't want to, start going, she said this, she said that. But, that's how she was feeling going into gig, that she's had a few weeks off, and she's like, oh, I hope this goes well. It's the first time I'm gigging for this person again. I hope it goes well, because if it's the first time someone's seeing you and you do bad, then they just think you're a bad actor, right? Whereas if they've seen you 40 times and you do bad, they go, no, I know you're good, because I've seen you 40 times do well, and now I've just seen you do bad once. So there is that dynamic as well when you're gigging for a new person, and she had that to contend with as well. But like I say, she did a really good job, got them all on side. Final break, I'm on, closing the show, had a really, really fun time. Didn't really have anything overly prepared in my head that I wanted to talk about, besides the fact that I slipped on the ice. Remember I told you that story in the last podcast? That's the only thing that I wanted to talk about on stage, so I threaded that in there a little bit. First time, obviously, I've ever told that on stage, so I enjoyed talking about that. I enjoyed just getting out there, telling me jokes again, getting, like, interactive with the audience. And I kind of found myself after a few minutes, I caught myself and I was like, I'm having fun here. I'm having fun. I'm loose. I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just getting out and about. I'm just saying it. Having fun. And it's hard to have fun as a stand-up, which is weird, because all the time you feel like you're being judged by, like, the bookers is the main person that you want to impress at a gig, because you want the work. You want work. One, you want to feel like the money that they're giving you, you're giving them value for money. Two, you want to do a good job so that you get repeat business from them, because you want to do good business for them, but you also want more business in the future from them. Does that make sense? So a lot of the times, maybe because it's me and Dan have got a really good relationship, that I found it a little bit easier with my first gig of the year, not gigging for 2 weeks, that I found it a lot more duck to water, able to get back in there and enjoy myself and have a good time. And I felt it went well as well. I don't really like talking about how well I did in terms of, like, if it's a positive, like if it went really well, because you feel like you're lying. I feel like it's a lie, because everyone says, oh, I did really well, I smashed this, I did that, and I feel like I don't do that. But then again, the Cribs released a new album this week, actually, and or was it last week? And one of the songs is like, take the credit, because, like, being bashful doesn't pay the bills, and that made me think a little bit, do I need to be a little bit more like that? Because God knows I've been like that in the past. When I used to play hockey, I was not shy about telling you how well I did. If I had scored 2 goals and give 2 assists on a weekend, I have no bones about telling you and telling all my teammates, hey, you lot are lucky I had a great game today, because you lot were subpar, but I got 2 goals and 2 assists and we won 4-3. Thank me later. So I had no problem in that, but it's a lot easier when you're playing a sport, because you can point to it and go, I scored those goals. Factually, we all know that I scored those goals and we needed those goals to win. Whereas when it's an audience, I suppose, you can only judge based off the reaction, and the reactions can be so vastly, like, the scale of good reactions is massive, right? Because when you're a new act, you might tell jokes for 5 minutes and get 2 laughs your entire set and go, wow, that was really, really good. I can't wait to do this again. I made people laugh. Because that is a great achievement, right? If you've never done it before and you make 2 people laugh, it's great. Whereas if I would have gone on last week on Wednesday to Sheffield play and only 2 people laughed at me all night, I would have felt like burying myself in the desert, to be honest with you, because I expect more from myself. But at the same time, the level that I expect, if Peter Kay, let's just say, was to perform there, he would expect a way bigger reaction, because he would think to himself, I perform in arenas, I make 20,000 people laugh at once, so there's only X amount of tens of people there. Surely all of those should be laughing massively at all of my jokes. So we all judge it on a scale, don't we? So I guess that's a little bit of the psychology behind why you can't just be like, great. But yeah, overall, it was a good night. Nobody bombed. Everyone went out there, did what they can do. Like I say, audience was tricky. Audience grew into it through the night, and I feel like that's a win. I feel like it was a win for everyone. The audience themselves, they were telling everyone that they were telling all the acts how much they enjoyed it, all that stuff. So that's how you know it was a good night. Because sometimes as well, audiences will enjoy your stuff, but they won't be like loud laughers at me. Again, I'll talk about myself as an audience member. I'm a nightmare audience member. I remember going to 2 stand-up shows before I started stand-up comedy. The first one was Mick Foley. Now, he's not a stand-up comedian, he's a pro wrestler, and he was doing a one-man talking show in a comedy club called Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco when I was in San Francisco for WrestleMania 31. And I went to that because it was an event to go to during WrestleMania week. And then I went to see stand-up once before I started stand-up properly. It was at the Comedy Store in Manchester before it shut down. This would have been back in 2017, maybe start of 2018. And I think Harriet Dyer was on the lineup, but Justin Morehouse was definitely on the lineup. And I remember sat there thinking to myself, I've not laughed once, but like I've been enjoying it all the way through. But I've not been verbally laughing, but I think, and then I recognised in myself, I'll be, because at the time I'm thinking about starting stand-up. I remember thinking to myself, I'm a terrible audience member, me, because everyone else is laughing. And I remember I wanted to sit kind of at the back and kind of to the side so they wouldn't like talk to me, anything like that. Again, not because I didn't want to be talked to, but more because I was going there as a learning experience of, do I really want to try and stand up? I've got to see it at least once myself properly to figure out, is this something that I want to try? Because it's very daunting before you try it. As I'm sure a lot of you might be sat there, if you've never done stand-up, you'll be sat there thinking like, yeah, sounds like my idea of a nightmare. Because before you do it, you look at it and you go, how do you make people laugh? How do you even make people laugh? Like, what do you do? And it is like, there's no real answer. It's just be funny is the answer, right? It's very simple, but that's a very complex answer as well. What does that mean, be funny? Because one thing I might find funny, they might not find funny. Like I say, I'm an audience member who enjoyed it, but wasn't laughing out loud. But to them, they might look and go, bloody hell, see that guy sat over there on the left in the green t-shirt. He's a right miserable so-and-so. He's not laughed all the way through, even though I'd be enjoying it. So audiences can be tough in that sense, where sometimes you will get more people like me, more awkward people who aren't laughing that big, and they might be enjoying it, but you feel like you've had a terrible gig because people aren't laughing as much. So, but overall, you do want people laughing as much as possible, and that is how we judge it on stage. How good of a gig did I do? You go, yeah, they were good. And sometimes you'll come off and like people go, how were they? Because they'll watch you and they'll be like, okay, he's not done as well as he usually does there. So they'll say to you, how were they? And you go, they're very smiley. And what that means is they'll be like they're enjoying it. They're giving you positive encouragement, but they're not laughing loudly. Sometimes that positive encouragement is like a bit talking down to you a little bit, to be honest with you. So like, go on, mate, you can do it. You go on, try. So it's a tricky one. Then next day, a different gig, a different kind of gig. So that first gig, obviously, that's like how a pro lineup kind of works. You've got an opener and a closer, 2 middles. This one was more of what you would call, it's not strictly an open mic night, but it's like open mic level. It was a bucket split night where I was hosting, and it was in Altrincham at Easy Cafe. So the girl Natalia, who was the previous host who would do it all the time, apparently isn't going to be doing it much anymore, or at all anymore. So he asked me, do you want to come and do it? I've got this opening. I was like, yeah, I'm available that night. I'll come down and do it, right? So I went there, hosting. Now, how a bucket split night works is it's free to enter, and then at the end of the show you pay what you want, and it's also like typically a lower level of acts. So it will either be new acts doing their like tried and tested material because they're trying to impress, or it will be slightly more established acts, like probably on a semi-pro kind of level, sometimes on a pro level, and they'll be trying new stuff or like closer to like a mixture of new and tried and tested, depending on where they are in the lineup and depending on at that moment how they're feeling. Sometimes you go into it and you think to yourself, do you know what, I'm going to do all new material in this gig. I'll book that in now. And then you book it in, and then it just happens to be that the month leading up to it, you don't really write much of anything. So it comes tonight, you've got 2 or 3 jokes, like 2 or 3 minutes worth of jokes, and you need to fill 15, 20 minutes, and you go, well, I guess I'm doing most of my regular set then, aren't I, if I'm going to it. So yeah, like this is like I say, more kind of open mic level, but it's not a traditional open mic where anyone can go and the mic is open to go and perform. It's where you pre-book, the guy running it will book it, he's Ben Shevlin, he'll book the acts. So how it works is there was 5 acts on the night, it was 2-2 and then someone to close the show who was more experienced than the rest of the lineup. So at the start of the night, I'm going to mix up everyone who was on the lineup, to be fair. But we had newer acts on the lineup, basically, towards the start of the show. We had newer acts on the lineup towards the start of the show who had not met before. And on this one, the crowd were well into it. So, again, just from my own experience, Altrincham, it's a more affluent area. So some of those problems in the Sheffield thing don't really abide as much in this gig. So first of all, it's warmer in the room. That's a big difference. It's warmer in the room. Everyone's not skint after Christmas. They're looking for something fun to do in January. Now Christmas is over. Whereas like in Sheffield, it's not a poor town by any means, but it's not an extremely affluent area like Altrincham kind of is. So like you got a bit of a richer crowd. It was more of like an older crowd, to be completely fair. Like a lot of people in the room who were retired and stuff like that. So they have the freedom to kind of be going out on a Thursday night and enjoying themselves, again, as compared to a Wednesday, where a lot of the people in the audience have got work to go to in the morning, so they're not going to be engaging in too many libations, let's just say, in that night, because they've got work the next morning. So, so Altrincham, like most of the retired people, like I say, I was hosting. I went up there, started hosting, all's going well, I'm having a fun time, this and this. I'm looking around the crowd as well, and all the people that I recognise from going previously, they're not there, and I'm thinking this is great because now I can do all new crowd work. I can actually get to know the audience, because I think I've discussed this in the past as well. When you're doing a show that you've done previously and you're hosting it again and you've already spoken to the audience, and this is a small room, I think capacity was maybe like 45 probably, and it's rammed, it's full of people to the point where people are standing near the door. All the comedians had to stand outside. It was freezing cold, but luckily they had the heater even for the outside as well, you know, smoking area kind of thing, heater, one of those. So we're all stood outside, rammed inside, full. I'm getting to know people now. Whereas if it was one of those shows where it's a return audience, I'll say, what's your name? And they'll be like, you know me, I'm John. I spoke to you last month, remember? You said I got weird glasses. And I'll be like, all right, okay, well, I guess I can't say you got weird glasses again because everyone knows I said that about you last time. So now I've got to pick something else about you now to talk about. Who are you with, John? And he goes, oh, you know this is my wife, Sheila. She was here last time too. You said it's weird that she's a piano teacher. Whatever it is. So, fresh audience, I get to know everyone from scratch. Well, like I say, I went on, I had a fun time. And audience, to be fair, built into this one as well. So that happens with an audience. And again, I'm a bit rusty. I'll be honest, I feel like I'm a good MC. I don't feel like I'm an excellent MC. I used to feel like I was a really good MC back when I first started, but I think the sliding scale is different, and I was more getting more practice in on a more regular basis then. But I feel like I'm a good MC now. So again, I was warming up through the night as they were warming up through the night as well. So I feel that was kind of a part of the dynamic. Like I say, some new acts on the lineup who did really well. They were doing really well. The audience were enjoying them. I couldn't really hear too much of what was going on because, like I say, I was outside. And it was like standing room only inside, and it was full of actual audience members. But yeah, like I say, the new people did a good job. Dom Hutchins was on the lineup. I like Dom. You might have seen Dom in a viral video with Jacob Rees-Mogg a few years ago. Again, that's Dom's story to tell, not mine. I'd love to chat to him about it properly. And I told him he should talk about that because it was a viral video. And at the time, he should have done like a video about it, talking about what had happened and why that went down. And if you ever remember that video, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So Dom was on the lineup. Ben himself was on the lineup. It was one of those where, the microphone stopped working during the first or second act. Luckily, it was a small enough space and packed enough that like you could just speak loudly enough that they could hear you, but the microphone stopped working, which, if the microphone stops working, straight away you go, that's a nightmare gig. But this was such a nice gig that it didn't really affect it. Obviously, it will affect it because if you're just stood there talking like this, it is a lot different than if you're actually talking into a microphone, and it's like, visually it looks less professional. You look a lot more like you're going through a breakdown or something if you're just shouting and yelling in a corner. So that weren't ideal, but like I say, crowd was so good that we fought past it. We kept on going through it. Like I say, Don was on the lineup, and then Johnny Brook was closing. I've not seen Johnny for so long. Like when me and Johnny started, we started around the same time, 2018, and we gigged together like quite a lot, probably up until the middle of the pandemic. So I remember doing an open mic with him around that time, and then actually just after the pandemic, we did one of Daniel Innes's gigs on Father's Day, which that one was a terrible gig, and Dan's never gone back to that place because whoever was running it at the pub, they just didn't know what they were doing, and like they were trying to tell Dan, we'll do it like this, we'll do it like that. They're giving him all these assurances, and they just weren't holding up their end of the bargain. There's like people all over the place talking, rowdy. Yeah, that was a really, really tough gig, and I think I opened that night, and opening in front of all that. It was Father's Day. It was in the middle of the day, actually. I say night. It was in the middle of the day, and yeah, that was a tough going on. I think it was near a fire station. I can't remember what specific part of Sheffield and Yorkshire it was, but yeah, I don't know if Dan will remember that. That was a tough go around, that one. But yeah, that was the last time I remember seeing Johnny. And like I said, that was like 2021 probably. Now we're in 2026 now. It's almost 5 years ago, this Father's Day will be, since I last seen him. So for someone that I saw so often in those first 3 years, we don't get to gig together that much anymore. And it's because you put in the same bracket. So if I wasn't hosting the show, I wouldn't have been on that lineup probably. Because if I was going to be on that lineup, I probably would have closed it. But Johnny was closing it. Do you know what I mean? So that spot for someone in our kind of bracket is only going to go to one person. The rest of the lineup goes to kind of newer acts. So again, don't get to see him as often because we're going for the same spots all the time. And there's only one. So it's only on a night like this where I'm hosting and it's the start of the year, so the diary's a little bit open because January is a bit more quiet, that we could get on the same lineup together. So that was nice. That was nice to do that. And yeah, like I say, overall a fun night. It was a fun night. There's women in the audience that were saying, "Oh, we've seen you before. We've seen you at a hotel in Manchester." And I'm trying to think to myself, what is this hotel in Manchester that I did? And they're describing it. I'm like, I'm sure that wasn't me. But you can't say to like these three women who are all adamant, "Yeah, we saw you in this hotel." I'm like, that wasn't me in an hotel in Manchester, surely. But who knows? It might have been me. It might have been so long ago that I just forgotten about it. Now, but yeah, so those are my first 2 gigs of the year. Like I say, closed one, hosted one, which is 2 very different things, but enjoyed them both a lot, to be completely honest with you. So looking forward to what happens going forward. Straight away, me and Amy off the back of it, we got booked again with Dan, so that's handy. We've got another gig in the diary with Dan, because Dan runs good gigs. Like I said, the Father's Day, that was an anomaly, that one was a bit of a car crash, but Dan's gigs, the ones that especially he's done more than once, they're really nice gigs and they're really fun to do. So, and again, I love gigging with him anyway, so it's good to get back in there, get that back in the diary. So we've got another one, and that's April Fool's Day actually. I remember that one, April Fool's Day. I think at Hagler's Corner in Sheffield, which I've done a few times, so looking forward to going back there. And then Ben, because Natalia's not hosting it anymore, he said to me, do you want to come and host more of these? And I said, yeah. He goes, I'm going to mix it up between you and, I think it's James Crook who's going to be mixing it up with me, I think he said. He goes, can you do March? I couldn't do March because I'm already booked. So he goes, okay, what about April? Yep, I can do April. Can you do June? Yep, I can do June. Can you do August? Yep, for now I can do August. We'll chuck that in the diary as well. So chucked all those in the diary. So it's good to, again, start now to build the diary going forward. After you go to these gigs, you get more gigs in the diary, which is lovely to do. And again, I don't want to be that kid sat at home thinking all the other kids are in school and I'm getting left behind here and they're all doing this and they're all doing that. Like I said, I don't care what other people are doing. I just want to be doing it myself as well. You go get your stuff. Very happy for all the people. So I'll talk about this actually. Very happy for people doing cool stuff. My mate Dan Tiernan, I think he was in Bermuda doing stand-up last week, and I was like, wow. I would, one, love to go to Bermuda, but 2, to be paid to go to Bermuda to do stand-up, like, what an opportunity that is. Like, just looks amazing, and again, so happy for him, because he's a nice lad, Dan. So again, yeah, would love to do that kind of opportunity. So if any of you out there from Bermuda, hey, hit me up, Hit me up. Maybe I'll tag this as Adam Meg's Bermuda comedy scene to fly him out. Maybe that's how we'll get it going. But yeah, so start of the year good for stand up. I'm back gigging. If you've seen this on Thursday, back gigging tonight. Magic Bar Llandudno, looking forward to it. It's one I had in the gig in the diary last year, but it got cancelled for whatever reason, so it's back in the diary now. Looking forward to going tomorrow. My housemate from uni, Ryan, lives in the area, so I think he's going to come, although he's an absolute pig, and he's a liar, and even worse, he's a Man United fan, so you can't trust people like that, can you? So whether he's going to come or not, who knows? But yeah, you can't trust Man United fans, can you? So, thank you for everyone who's been giving me positive feedback so far on the podcast. Been absolutely loving it. Everyone who's been writing, whatever you've been writing, whether it's in the comments or on YouTube, whether you've sent me messages on other platforms, whatever. Thank you very much. I know a few acts have been messaging me as well. Specifically, Bobby Jeffro, Cash Qureshi from Bradford, two Apna boys. New on the scene, doing the thing, getting out there, hitting the road, paying their dues. You love to see that. You love to see people getting out there and going, do you know what? Yeah, let's try this, let's try that. And it's inspiring, because I remember when I was brand new, and you're trying to figure out how to do it yourself. Two, you're trying to build a catalogue of jokes, because you're writing all this stuff, you've no idea if it's funny. You're going out there trying it, and you're going, oh, sometimes you do it once and you go, I am never telling that joke in front of people ever again, because that did not go well. And three, you're trying to get to know people, you're trying to get people to get to know you, kind of build trust. And I've seen them, they're going all over the place, so fair whack to them, because that's not something that I was immediately doing, because I just didn't know how to find gigs when I started stand up, and I didn't want to be too overbearing and start messaging people, how'd you do this, how'd you do that? In fact, I still don't do that, to be honest with you, which again is part of things like that. It does help you get ahead if you do that stuff, so I should really do that more. But I didn't know how to find gigs when I first started, which was really difficult. Then there's a guy called Shazad. Again, Shazad, he comments quite a lot on these videos. He reached out to me and he messaged me and he gave me some very good advice, to be fair. And listen, we've argued like cat and dog through the years, me and Shazad, because he can get on my nerves. He knows he can get on my nerves, and I get on his nerves as well, probably as well. We've had some ding-dongs. But one thing I'll always say, and I'll always give him this credit, is he gave me a lot. And I hope you're seeing this, Shaz, because you're full respect to you for this, man, because you gave me a lot of advice when I was first starting, and I'd only done about 2 gigs at the time, and I was desperate trying to find other gigs. I remember you giving me some good advice, and you helped me to get my 3rd gig, and you gave me advice on where to find other gigs, which then led me to get my 4th gig as well. So 1, 3 and 5 I had myself covered, but 3 he helped me to get directly, and 4 he just told me about other ones, and then I kind of did the legwork. In fact, yeah, here and there, I did the legwork either way. Managed to get that spot there. I remember that was in Binary Bar in Manchester, which is now closed down. But yeah, so full respect to you, Shaz. And that's what it's about, to be fair. And maybe that's part of the reason why I like seeing what they're doing, is because when I was starting and Shaz was an older upnart on the scene, he could advise me, and he said to me, he goes, do this, do that. And listen, no one can do everything for you, and he can't just, magically fix stuff for me. But you can only give people advice. You can only do this. And some of his advice has been really, really good. Some of it has been awful, Shells, but some of it has been really good. So full respect to you, because you didn't need to reach out to me. And that's the most important thing, is that you made the effort to do so. And I feel like sometimes, even if someone gives you advice and it's not good advice, a lot of people take that as a bit of an insult. Like, I can't believe this person wants me to do this. It's a rubbish idea. But overall, at least they tried to help you. If the heart's in the right place and they're not purposefully misleading you, I really appreciate it, me personally. I know some people don't. A lot of people look down on it, but I really appreciate it when anyone reaches a hand out and tries to help me out. So, full respect to you, brother. But yeah, what else has been going on this week? Oh, there was all that madness in the Africa Cup of Nations. Check this out. If you don't follow football, you missed out on this one. I'm going to break it down as simple as possible. I'm not going to do loads of football chat, right? But basically, it's the Africa Cup of Nations, which is the equivalent of the Euros. Remember the Euros? It was here in '96. It's coming on. England got to the final, the last 2 Euros. Well, it's the African version, right? It's the AFCON. And the final was Morocco versus Cameroon in Morocco. Now, all of the ball boys in the arena, obviously, are from Morocco, right? And the ball boys are the people who, when the ball goes off the pitch, they throw the ball back on. They're fighting with the Cameroon goalkeeper, first of all, over his towel, because they don't want the Cameroon goalkeeper to have a towel, because then he'll dry his gloves, and then it'd be easier for him to catch the ball and save the ball. But something as simple as that, they're trying to stop him doing that. So then the backup goalkeeper He runs over and he's guarding the towel all the way through the game. And any time that the first keeper needs the towel, he's going, throwing it. He's wrestling over this towel. Honestly, it's so funny, these videos. Anyway, it gets to the end of the game, like last minute of the game. Did I say Cameroon? Senegal. I might have said Cameroon. Either way, Senegal versus Morocco. Senegal score in the last minute. The referee goes, no, that's not a goal. You fouled their player. And it was a very soft foul, right? A lot of people said they should have kept that as a goal. The ball goes up the other end of the pitch. There's a soft foul up that end. Foul, penalty to Morocco. So now Morocco have gone from 1-0 down to 0-0 to now they've got a penalty. Senegal have gone from 1-0 up to 0-0 to now a penalty against them. And they're fuming. The entire team, besides their one-star player, all walk off the pitch. They leave, they go down the tunnel, and everyone's sat there thinking, what is going on? That's not an option. You can't just leave the pitch and quit. You have to play the game. The star player, he gets beckoned over by a guy called El Hadji Diouf. El Hadji Diouf used to play for Bolton and Liverpool, Blackburn, these teams in England, in the northwest, if you remember him. He tells the star player from Senegal, go down the tunnel, get the lads back. He goes down there, they get them back, comes out. The Moroccan player who takes the penalty tries to be cocky, just chips the ball down the middle, expecting the goalkeeper to dive to save it. Goalie catches it, full time. That all took about 16 minutes to get done, right? Then we go to extra time, and Senegal get a goal from about 25 yards out. Boom, top corner, Senegal win. The whole thing was a bit of a farce, but I'll be honest, I loved it. Absolute box office. Bring more of that pro wrestling drama to football. That will get anyone watching it. Honestly, if you've not seen it, watch that on social. It was crazy. It was honestly, it was so much fun watching that. I had a very, very good time watching that. Yeah. Weather's not letting up, is it? Still freezing cold outside. That's no good, is it? No good. What's going on? The Brooklyn Beckham drama. Oh my days. Have we seen this? Brooklyn Beckham. He's angry at his parents. Now, this goes to show, everyone when they're younger, when the parents like are a bit embarrassing, they go to themselves, nah, I'm going to be the cool parent when I grow up. There's no parents cooler than David and Victoria Beckham. As a kid who grew up in the 90s, every boy wanted to be David Beckham and play for England. Every girl wanted to be Victoria Beckham and be in the Spice Girls. You can't get a more cool pair for kids. You can't. A footballer who played for England, England captain, won the treble with Man United. Even though I'm not a Man United fan, don't trust them lot. You can't get better than that in a Spice Girl. You can't. Yeah, he is like, I hate my mum and dad. My mum and dad are embarrassing, they're overbearing, they do this, they do that. No, they're your parents. Have a day off. Now, obviously, I don't know the full story, and that was no fun if I know the full story, is it? But, yeah, I don't know. I can't see any future where I see myself writing Instagram complaints about my parents and going, I can't believe mum and dad's done this, I'm going to separate myself from them. I can't see why I would ever do that, me personally, but that's just me personally. Yeah. But, I mean, they did do him dirty on the name, though, didn't they? Brooklyn Beckham. Why is he called Brooklyn? Because that's where they conceived him. You do not want to know where your mum and dad did it. You don't. You don't want to know it. Like, those kids of those Man United players in the 90s have had, like, crazy lives, haven't they? Like, you look at, like, obviously, Brooklyn Beckham's doing all this. Kasper Schmeichel ended up winning the Premier League himself. Tom Ince was a footballer. Let's not even talk about Harvey Price, because he's been done dirty by Big Dwight there, hasn't he? So, Roy Keane's daughter married a footballer. Interesting lives for these sons and daughters of these Premier League footballers. It must be a mad life, that, because, again, if your parents won the treble with Manchester United, they played internationally for their countries, how would you ever live up to that, really? Like, Kasper Schmeichel's had a great career. He ain't a patch on his dad, like, and that's having a great career as well, like, it's mad, like, yeah. Interesting. I've not been watching anything. Anyone else been watching anything? I'm not saying that like we're having a conversation, but anyone been watching anything? Drop it down there. You got any recs for me? Any recommendations? I've been watching a lot of like the Sam Morrell and Mark Normand podcast recently. I've been watching a lot of that. Like I've never watched it, so I'm able to like go back and kind of cherry pick older episodes. Like what do I fancy? I've also been watching a lot of Dan Soder's podcast as well, because I've seen bits and bats of that through the years. So I've been watching a lot more of that. But on the Morell and Normand one, they talk about recommendations a lot, and they get recommendations from each other. Obviously, I'm by myself in this podcast, so I need recommendations from you guys. And they talk about the pet peeves as well. They talk about the pet peeves, which I thought that's an interesting thing to kind of delve into on a podcast, because it kind of does come up in terms of conversation. But when they kind of earmarking it as like, right, have a peeve, they'll be going through day-to-day life and they'll remember them and be like, yeah, I need to remember this. This is a proper peeve for me. I say all that as if I'm going to bring up a peeve right now. I don't, but I'm just talking about other podcasts that I've been enjoying at the moment, because that's kind of all I've been watching, really. I've got really into as well this channel on YouTube, where this guy goes around buying like collections of baseball cards off people, and you see him going around and negotiating price. And obviously it's all a bit reality TV, and they've probably already negotiated the price behind the scenes, but they're doing a bit for camera, like, how about 15-2? And he goes, I was thinking a bit more 16-1. Well, I think I can meet you halfway at 15-7. He goes, oh, but I got this bill, can you do 15-9? And they go back and forth like that. I've been really enjoying it, to be fair. Really enjoying it. Another thing I've been thinking about recently is doing food reviews again. I did a few food reviews back in the day. Now, the reason why I stopped them is because I felt a need to be positive on all of them. And I felt like I couldn't be genuine with the audience, because how can you be if you're just going to be positive and look for the positives and everything? Because that's how I view food in general, is I try and at least look for the positives, because I don't want to do someone's business dirty. And I don't like that with all these professional food reviewers. And I'll be honest, I'm going to call you out. Muslim food reviewers, like, I'm calling you out. Like, I don't, like, being a Muslim, like, food is like a very precious thing, and you should be so glad to have access to food. So when they're going about and they're looking at food reviews, like, they're looking at food places and they're slagging them off, I'm like, bro, like, all food is precious. You should be looking at it going, I'm so glad to have that. I'm so glad that I'm not worrying about putting food on the table tonight. I'm not worried about having an hungry belly. I'm comfortable. I'm getting fed, and they're probably paying me to do this. And the video they're putting out there is probably making them money as well. So not only is you don't have to worry about eating. Eating is helping you eat in the future at home. So that's one thing that I don't like. But I also don't like how they affect people's businesses. And like, there is an argument to say that, like, in a capitalist society, only good businesses should survive. But at the same time, I don't want to be the one responsible for someone's business going downhill because I went on the internet and I badmouthed them, to be honest. Unless they've done something directly affecting me. If you give me half-decent, I'm talking about half-decent food that's a bit bland, not that flavourful, maybe a bit too chewy, a bit too overcooked, a bit too burnt, I'll still say thank you for the meal, because I'm genuinely happy to eat food. I grew up poor, yeah. We come from a poor village in Pakistan. I've been around Pakistan. I've seen poverty. I've seen true poverty. I've seen it in other countries as well, not just Pakistan. But I feel like more comfortable saying it about my own country that I've been to, and that I'm like from down the family line. I've seen it, so I don't think that way. But I say all that to say this. I've been thinking about doing food reviews because a couple places that I genuinely eat at and that I do enjoy have said to me, oh, if I give you, like, will you do a video for us? I'll give you free food, I'll sort you out, don't worry. Like, now, I don't mind doing the video for them because it's a place that I eat anyway. And I'll be honest, I'll give you a free recommendation now. I'll give you recommendations to the two places that have told me. One is Grillville in Bolton. It's down on the outside of the new Primark. It's there. So if you're from Bolton, check out Grillville. It's there. But I think it closes like odd times. It's not a nighttime takeaway. It's a daytime takeaway, I'm pretty sure. And the other one is Punto Pizza. Now, Punto Pizza is open from about 12 o'clock every day up until like late at night. Both places have asked me, will you do a food review here? And it's places that I eat in both. I mean, the main reason why I've not done it is because I've got so much on my plate in terms of making stuff and putting it online. It's just hard to find the time to go there. Not just eat, but also in that time when I'm rushing to eat, then be like thinking about, oh, I need to film this, I need to film that, I need to get this will look good on the video, this will do that. Because if I want to do it, I want to do it at least half properly. So, yeah, I'm thinking about doing food reviews again. Is it something that you'd like to see? Again, I'm only probably going to do it in places that I genuinely already eat myself. Or, if, let's say, I'm gigging in a different town. Let's say I was gigging in Bradford before, and I mentioned the boys before, Cash and Bobby, so here's another shout out to you boys. If I'm in Bradford with the boys, Cash and Bobby, and they go, listen bro, there's a sick burger place down here, innit, yara? And that's their white friend Tim saying that. And I go, all right, and I ask Bobby and Cash, is it good? And they go, oh yeah, it's great, we go there all the time, us two. And that's their accent. I'll go, do you know, yeah. Actually, yeah. I'll do a review with you guys. We'll go and do it because you've recommended it to me. And then at least, even if I want to cut myself out of it, I can film them because they like it. They can talk positively about it, right? So, yeah, I've been thinking about it. I've been toying with the ideas of doing food reviews again. And a lot of people ask me all the time, oh, why don't you do food reviews again? Or people will just say, oh, this is Adam, he does food reviews. And I did 4 or 5 ever. Years ago. I've not done them for years. I did 4 or 5 ever, but I guess it's the whole thing about bleep with one go, and all anyone wants to talk about is that you're a goat bleeper. So I guess it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Once you do something once, people just start to refer to you as that for the rest of eternity. But yeah, those are the 2 places that I go. Another place that I go all the time is Rice and Free. I love Rice and Free in Bolton. That's another rec for you. If you're in the Bolton area, if you're from Bolton, you want some food. All 3 places are halal, so you might want of these part of the brigade. Oh, here's something that we can talk about. The anti-halal brigade. Now, anti-halal is very interesting. Now, you won't hear many Muslims talk about this, but I will actually talk about it from a different angle. And I'm going to talk about the different angle first before I go into the rest of the stuff. If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, and you have a problem with halal food, I will accept your problem and I will say, you know what? You have a point. Because if you're a vegetarian or a vegan and you don't believe in meat full stop, I will say, yeah, you have a point. Yeah, if you can find that same sustenance from elsewhere, yeah, you have a point. I'll have that conversation with you. And a lot of Muslims won't have that conversation because they'll feel under attack when people attack halal food. And for this reason, now let's move into this. The reason why they feel attacked is because most of the people, I'm talking about the vast majority of people who are anti-halal, are just Islamophobic. They just don't like Muslims. And it's just as simple as that. That they've got a problem with halal because it's Muslim food. Because you ask a lot of these people, do you have a problem with kosher? And they'll say, not talking about kosher, didn't mention kosher, but kosher is very similar to halal, right? So, again, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, I'll accept that because if your whole thing is a whole thing about you don't think animals should perish so that we can eat, I will accept your viewpoint because I feel like there is an argument to be had there. Even though I'm not one myself, I eat meat, I will accept that there is an argument to be had there. And I think I maybe could be swayed, and if I can get my sustenance elsewhere, maybe I would. And maybe I should. But again, if you're not, there's this page online with 70,000 people in it. Now, of course, a lot are going to be fake accounts and bots and all that kind of stuff. But there's still a good amount of people in there who will be real. And they post constantly about, I emailed such and such a person to find out if their meat was halal. And they said this, and like sometimes it's like a gotcha moment, like we got you, you've got halal food, we got you. But halal places typically will put the sticker very visibly, and the reason why they want to do it very visibly is because of this. We want to see that sticker. As someone who eats halal food exclusively, I want to see that sticker. If you do not have that there, I might still come and eat in your place, but I'm going to eat a veggie option from there. Something like, obviously, something like that. But if you've got that sticker, I know, I can go and have a lamb kebab from there. I can have a burger. I can have this. I can have that. I know my options are open. So there's a lot of people who think that there's a big Muslim conspiracy to serve you halal food and keep it hidden and not tell you about it because your money goes towards a halal tax which funds all the evil stuff that we've got planned as Muslims, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? It's an absolute laugh, but there's people who genuinely believe that, right? But this is the truth, is as a Muslim, I do not want, hey, listen now, let me say this clearly. As a Muslim, I do not want halal food to be disguised. I want it to be clearly labelled because that makes it a lot easier for me to find halal food and to find the food that I want to eat. So I want it clearly labelled. So to say that Muslims want it to be hidden is the complete opposite for the truth. We're on your side. We think it should be clearly labelled as well because it makes my job a hell of a lot easier. I was saying before, I don't have time to go around eating these places and film it as well because I'm so busy. Imagine how much easier it would be for me if the halal logo was massively plastered on the window. I'd be like, boom, fantastic, I can go over there. It just makes it a hell of a lot easier for me. Life would be so much easier if every halal place was just clearly labelled. And for the most part, they are. There's a few places probably that don't have it on. There probably is. But maybe, I don't know the reason. Maybe it's because the sticker's too much. Maybe it's because there's certain people in the area who are Islamophobic and they'll boycott you even though they go, oh, that Raj, he's alright for one of them, isn't he? You know Raj from Curry Shop down road, he's alright for one of them is Raj. But that's the kind of people that they are. But yeah, there's been this massive thing about halal. But the funniest one about halal food was they emailed Quorn. Now, if you don't know Quorn is a meat substitute. Their entire gimmick, all of their food is meat-free. So, you don't have to ask them if it's halal. Because it's not meat. Like, their whole thing is about halal meat, by the way. Because halal just means permissible. So, halal versus non-halal. Their whole thing is about halal meat, right? You don't need to ask Quorn if this is halal because it is halal unless it's got alcohol in it, which isn't part of you're not bothered if it's not got alcohol in it. That's not the question you've got. Your question is it halal? This is what I mean. They're so confused that they're even asking Quorn and it's just ridiculous because, like, yeah, I get it. I know that they're not the smartest, but like when I saw that, I thought, wow, they're even dumber than I ever thought. Like, I didn't even realise they could get to this kind of level of idiocy. Absolute ridiculousness. I did a little short video about that this week because I could not help myself. Yeah, strange times. It is a weird time as a Muslim. It is a weird time. And I don't know whether it's because this is what my algorithm feeds me now. I honestly don't know. I don't know if things are getting worse or better. I genuinely think that in the 80s it was worse. But I do feel like now it's worse than it was 15 years ago. When I was in uni, I feel like it was a lot worse than it was 15 years ago. But I wasn't very openly Muslim 15 years ago either. I was a young lad at the time. Like, I don't dress as a Muslim. I only eat halal food, so that'd be a sure giveaway for people. I don't drink alcohol. That'd be one thing that anyone of my teammates, especially from uni, if you ask them, does Adam Anwar drink? They'll all be able to tell you categorically, no, he doesn't. He used to come out with us all. I'd sit in the pub with them, not drinking, and people would ask, why don't you drink? And that, you know, sometimes I'd go through the whole Muslim conversation. I remember having a full-on argument at one time with one of my teammates because they do this thing where basically everyone chips in a few quid, and then with all that money, you buy all this alcohol for that player who's like been the worst one that week. And then you buy all these different alcohols, and the aim is to get them as drunk as possible, basically, and for them to have an absolute terrible time. And then, at first, they're coming around to collect. I'm just giving the money, because I don't know what it's going to. I just know that, you know, we're out, they're collecting money for something. Because when you're a part of these sports clubs, they collect money for stuff. Sometimes it's, you know, it's a charity fundraiser. Sometimes it's, you know, so we can get Lucasades for the team bus. Whatever it is, there's always some kind of thing going on that you got to pay for, right? So, yeah, whatever. And then I started to realise, oh, my money's going so that they can get this one kid, like, just out of his mind drunk and make him, like, just, like, pass out and puke all over the place. And I thought to myself, well, I don't want my money going to that, because I don't strictly agree with what they're doing in terms of this. If people want to drink, that's fair enough. But you're literally doing it so that he has an awful time as well. So I don't want to make someone's life worse. My money's not contributing to that. And I remember they came to me, but I remember my first year at this time, and when you're a first year student and you're on one of these sports teams, the third years, they tell you something, you just do it because they're the team leaders, and this guy was the first team captain, and he got to me, and he was like, give me your money, and I was like, nah, I'm not putting it in. Because I've been there, I've been there a while at this point. This is my first year still. And why not? And he started an argument with me. And a couple of the lads, the other older lads, they stuck up for me, and like they got involved, and they were like, nah, leave him. If you don't want to put in, he don't drink, so like leave him out of it. This lad not happy, like giving me like a side eye or whatever, carried on. We used to walk down this road called Rough Lane, which would lead back to the uni campus, and I was living on campus at the time, and that's where like the student bar was. So we'd go from the town, we'd go from a pub there, we'd go to the bar, uni bar, and then I'd go back home. I'd go back to my uni flat, right? As we were going back, I can't remember how it started, but he's just at me. He's at me going, oh, you didn't do this. So now I'm not, especially in those days, I'm not slow to an argument. If you're especially coming at me, like, yeah, you might be the first team captain, you might be a third year, I might be a lonely first year, and I might be awful at hockey, but I'm going to go back at you here. And we're going hammer and tongue at it, like, pull apart, everyone's getting in between us, so it's not fully coming to blows. Like, So, I don't know how I got onto this subject, to be honest with you. That was it. I wasn't openly Muslim. That was one of the times where my Muslimness was coming out, because I'm saying, listen, this is the reason why I'm a Muslim. I don't drink. I don't believe in this thing. I'm not stopping you. In fact, I'm getting involved, at least socially, to be sat here with you, to be like, yeah, I want to be one of the team, but I'm not going to get involved in this one negative side, which is getting this guy overly drunk. I'm not going to drink myself. I'm not going to stop you from drinking, though. That's the whole thing, right? I would get it if I went there and went, right, everyone, drinks off the table, let's all get our prayer mats out and get prayer beads. And I'd understand that if he was kicking off, going, why is he trying to change our ways? I wasn't trying to change his ways. I, however, was just changing my own involvement and being like, listen, like... Anyway, we went hammer and tongs at that. But yeah, I wasn't openly Muslim for like a long time. But again, it's all... Everyone knows my surname. My dad would drop me off at uni. They'd see my dad. My dad would say hello to the boys. My cousin dropped me off first year. They know I'm Pakistani. I wear my Pakistan cricket top to training and stuff like that. They know I don't drink. They know it's a Muslim surname. For me, that was enough. That was enough to be like, listen, I'm not hiding my surname. I'm not going to call myself Adam Smith or something like that. I'm just going to be Adam Anwar. Take me for what I am and accept me. So, but again, I wasn't openly Muslim in those days. So maybe, and again, social media wasn't as big in those days. So maybe that's why I didn't see as much Islamophobia. But to be fair as well, people expose themselves more often when they don't fully know that you're a Muslim. They'll say Islamophobic stuff. And people have said stuff to me in the years. And I've challenged a few people through the years. And I've been like, hey, you shouldn't be saying that. Or why do you think that? Like, because there's ways to challenge people as well. Because your immediate reaction is anger and be like, you what, mate? What are you saying? It's not necessarily the best way to act. The best response, genuinely, I think, as an adult, is just like, do you mind if I ask you, why did you think that? Like, why did you say that about Muslims? What makes you think that way about Muslims? And it's not the easiest response. The easiest response is to mock people, and that's typically what I do. And as a stand-up comedian, it's kind of the brand, right? But I think the most adult response is to be like, why do you think that? Like, what do you think? And really get to the bottom of it and try and reason with the person. Because a lot of the times, the things that they think are just so wildly untrue. Like I say, the whole thing about halal meat and people thinking that it's a big Muslim conspiracy to feed you halal meat, and the reason why we hide it from you is so that you buy more of it, and then all that money goes to Muslim tax, and it does this and it does that. There is no Muslim tax. There's zakat, which is different, which is where we pay 2.5 of the money that we've got. We pay that to charity directly, but that's what we're paying directly. You're not paying that. So yeah, you could make an argument to say that you're paying this person, the butchers, and this, and this, and that. You could say all that stuff, but that's not strictly how it works, is it? But I guess that's people, isn't it? People will find a reason to hate you before finding a reason to love you. And it's annoying. It is annoying. And I saw, what did I see today? I saw something on the Bolton News, and they'd put something on Facebook. And honestly, the comments were just so bigoted. I'll just use that word. There's just pure bigotry through the comments. And I felt like, wow, like I felt like doing a video about it, to be honest, but oh, no, that's what it was. It was about an older white bloke, and he's wanted because there's been, he said some kind of, he said something that was racist, basically. And loads of the comments have been, ignore it, they're just playing the race card. Or, bet there's two sides to every story. Or, if I see this guy, I'm buying him a pint. Or, I'm buying him a pint, I'm buying him a pint. And I'm like, surely these are bots. Surely these aren't real people who've seen an article about someone being racist. And their automatic response isn't to be like, okay, let's see where this goes. Their response is, nah, don't believe it. Race card, I'll buy him a pint. I'll buy him a pint literally implies that you believe he was racist and you find that such a good trait that you think that you should give your own money to reward him. Like, what a wild response to racism that is. But that's just how some people are. I feel like I should do a short form video on that. It is frustrating. Because I cannot believe that people are that dense. I genuinely cannot believe it. Anyway, we're getting towards an hour now, so I will bounce off. I will leave. I want to thank you all for watching once again. If you've enjoyed this and you've got to this stage, I want you to comment halal yum yum in my tum tum. I want you to comment that if you've made it to this stage in the video. Right, that. Obviously, thank you for everyone that's so far subscribed, liked the video, shared it to anyone, any of that, all that good stuff. It all helps. I love the fact that I can do this and I just chat long form and people are enjoying it. But yeah, thank you very, very much. If you're in any of the towns that I'm doing comedy, which at the moment next week I think it's just land unknown the next week or so, come along. But yeah, thank you very much for watching.